mid, TNC can run away with this in the first 7 to 9 minutes.
And this is really looking like a team fight based composition
Welcome to
for
Mobile
Aurora
Legends.
if they do want to actually let Dominkite get his items and buy him enough time to actually participate in the fight. But this is it. This is game number 3 and the deciding match between these two teams who we've been looking forward to go up against each other for the longest time. So let's see how it goes. So far it's been a really patient early game, even between the mid duo so far. But look at Kozen.
Even the first 2 games, it was relatively slow. Apart from game number 1, where TNC had an early engage with with the Yaoi jaw hit, but this time, this is actually again the first time Renegade and Yaoi will battle it out in the Land of Dawn. So far, Yaoi has used up Cho 2 times 1-1, looking to extend that win streak with the Cho to 2 games. And again, going back to what Renmar said, the thing is, in terms of late game, no questions asked. Aurora has a good lineup, but again, the question might boil down to who's gonna take them towards that time, who's gonna enable them. But Zyda and actually Lord J forcing out the Revitalize of Edward early on.
Yeah, and based on the rotation we've been seeing for the first few minutes, it seems like Aurora might just want to be focused on the gold lane. They might want to rotate more frequently there, but hold up, Renegade gets poked down really low. But nothing will come out of it just yet. It's just an exchange of punches here and there, and I'm really surprised as to how Dominkite is holding up his own lane. He already used the regen in less than, I think, 30 seconds, even after being poked down really well by Kuzen, but he's holding up pretty well.
Yeah, you'd expect Dominkite to actually have a hard time up against Ranger, but Aurora's looking like gonna have an easy time securing the first usual objective. Strike contrast from what happened during game number 2, where TNC was just really getting all the turtles without any contest from Aurora.
Yeah, and I'm wondering what TNC was able to get out of that. They weren't able to steal away any jungle camps from Aurora. And even despite the fact that their gold lane pretty much is at an advantage up against Dominkite, they weren't really able to maximize it. So it's just Aurora getting the turtle with actually no trades from TNC in the early game.
Yeah, a lot of that also boils down to how Edward is performing in his lane. Again, he's always first when it comes to rotating outside, disrupting any potential initiation that can come from the Phoenix Army.
I think also TNC Pro Team are waiting for a better time for Zyda to be able to burst down, like actually get a sure 60 to 70% burst when he uses his fracture. As TNC Pro Team are trying to slow things down. It's not, they're somewhat allowing Aurora to set the tempo here. Because again, if they go too fast, that might force some reactions and put them in a state where it's a little bit too chaotic for TNC's taste. So they've taken a different approach for the early to mid-game spike, while they're looking more for the mid-game spike instead, actually, with a slower pace.
So it got carried over, like TNC being that very disciplined team.
Yes.
After learning just from a single objective take in the previous game, it's hopefully something that won't entirely put them at a disadvantage, because if Aurora does indeed get to snowball, then it'll be really hard for them considering their lineup, but at least they're able to just maintain things as they are. But the control and the aggression is clearly coming from Aurora still.
You know, TNC's mindset might be that we're not going to play as aggressive as we've been playing, because again, but hold that thought, because Lancey's poking a Demon Tide. All the while, Yaoi goes in with an off-angle way of the dragon. Renegade goes in with a glorious pathway to bring down a Yaoi, now forcing a TNC to retreat.
Yeah, good thing Yue was able to flick back. That could have been a sure trade, favoring TNC Pro Team, but it ended up just becoming better for Aurora. Lord JM now forced to go back, and Aurora will get the second turtle of the game.
Yep. Kuzen was also there, but that didn't mean TNC was ready enough to win against Aurora or engage against them completely. So now they will be returning back to their lanes, and they'll be continuing this pattern of being a little bit more passive, not unless Okay, Demon Kite gets to touch that too.
Yeah, I think I just a tad early for Yawi. I think he was already thinking about where Demon Kite would end up. Except the Demon Kite delayed his exit. Yawi with a kick.
Okay, they're gonna commit it on to Ren and Jay, but Yawi gets shredded down by Doming Kite. The damage early on from this carry is just too immense for Yawi.
This isn't looking too good if you spend too much time without the follow-ups, without your other members. Dominkite will just have the time of his life.
Yeah, and at the same time, Aurora are playing much better around the show. They're really respecting it. They're expecting that Yawi's gonna kick Renjay every chance that he can get. But Yue and the rest of Aurora have been ready to respond to it every time.
They're at the purple buff right now. Will Zyda get his hands on it? Look at these members contesting it away.
Oh, it's going to be 4-on-4, but Zyda might be able to escape though still. Who's going to get the purple buff? It's going to go on to Demon Kite. So where will the trades from the side of TNC come from? Yawi goes in for the kick, but on the other hand, Aurora's just rocking the mid lane. Going to zone out the members of the Phoenix Army. Renjay is going to fall down, but TNC's first tier turret will fall also.
TNC now have decided to play this game a certain way, and now Aurora are taking over the early game, the supposed window of TNC. And the late game lineup is more leaning towards Aurora. The Yue and the carry, or the Yue, the Sicilian, excuse me.
Because he's been playing it 3 games
Yeah, he
in a
played
row.
3 games, so Sicilian and carry together are going to be much harder to deal with for TNC Pro Team than the the Vexana and the Granger together. Another kick by Yawi.
Gonna come in onto Ren and Jay. He has a revitalized. Glorious Pathway still up for grabs. Tanky Ren and Jay, the hitman. No, call him the chunkiest man in the land of Dawn, soaking up the damage. Coming in from TNC, Yawi goes in, wants to go for more after Demon Kite. A flicker from Yue. No, not Yue, but still Zyda gets the turtle. Here comes Lord JM, forcing Aurora to retreat, and now the trade TNC is looking for is here.
Well, TNC Pro Team found their timing finally at around 7 minutes in. That's exactly what we were talking about. They knew they couldn't take the next turtle down, lying down. They needed to try and contest for it, which they did. They got it, and now they have more room to breathe around the map.
And that was pure respect from TNC too, seeing that Renegade was just so tanky, they just really couldn't take him down. But at the same time, that was multiple resources that they were able to burn. That was the revitalize the Glorious Pathway, and so they were able to set up a bit more for that turtle take. But let's see now, because it's still Aurora getting the better conversions, getting the turret objectives away from TNC compared to them.
All right, let's see where the Nolan is at. Already at a Hunter Strike, on the way to the second item. Already 2 for the Suyo with the War Axe and the Hunter Strike as well. Kozen already built up to a Malefic Roar and also has a Sky Piercer, so that's 3 core items for this Granger. Definitely TNC are online, and look to seeing them being more aggressive and to really trying to win trade-offs. As Lord JM also just built up an antique Caress.
Yeah, although this is the moment where they have to get past Edward too.
Yeah.
Since he's already being part of the rotations.
Yeah, because of what Edward has been doing, Yao is forced to go for those off angles just to make sure to try and reach for the backlines. As Dominkai just going for the turret damage. TNC can't even defend anymore. They're out their turrets onto the top lane, while Kozen wants to go for a trade onto the bottom lane.
Yeah, it's a map wide split, and Yaoi's actually covering the area so that Kozen will know when to go back. Kozen should know to go back already, as Yaoi was able to block off the downwards rotation of Renjay and Dominkai. Demon Kite will show himself in the map. So TNC have a very good idea as to where Aurora are.
All right, we're already seeing the first Lord spawn for this game. And you mentioned the TNC, they're already online. So they're looking to contest this, they're looking to fight.
Oh, Demon Hunter Sword already built up by the carry. TNC Pro Team need to really try. If they cannot break down the front line fast enough, they at least need to bring Dominkite low so that he gets forced back.
Oh,
Yaoi!
Yaoi of the Dragon plus the Flicker combination onto Mr. Consistent, but it looks like Aurora's just too much for them to handle. Zyda might be next on the chopping block. One member down for TNC, and Aurora was miles ahead over the Phoenix Army.
I don't think TNC can afford to not get the perfect target this time. Dominkite's just too much to handle with all those free hits and the late game damage.
Yeah, and Lord JM good control on him, actually. It seems like TNC Pro Team saw how fast Yawi was going down, and Lord JM decided not to just keep jumping onto the members of Aurora, and he uses Dark Wave defensively, since he wasn't able to get a really big one that maybe led to 4 members getting knocked up on the side of Aurora. TNC Pro Team just decided to go back, and now we'll try again through another pickoff. However, Aurora did get the first Lord of the game, and this could be a devastating push for them, as, again, the Sicilian of a Yue, still untouchable. Same for the carry of Dominkite.
Oh, and not to mention, he still doesn't have the Wishing Lantern too. He only just has the Glowing Wand. So once he gets his hands on those items, that'll be a lot more for TNC to consider. And they really will have to say goodbye to their outer turrets. Definitely looking at Aurora's control.
The great wall of Renegade and Edward. Again, we're going to go back to the question or the problem that Yawi has to face. He has to go for those different kinds of angles if he can't rely on the flicker. Because Edward and Renegade has been doing a phenomenal job in zoning out and giving vision for Aurora. Lord sieging in onto the top lane. They're going to save their Holy Shields at the top, but they're going to lose their Holy Shields in the mid.
Oh, they might just say bye-bye to it now too. So there's only the Holy Shields down bottom that's left, but we're also nearing the 12-minute mark either way.
Interesting itemization, by the way, for Yue and Renegade. They both decided to go for crystals because they didn't want to go back. They wanted to maximize the mana region that they could get from those items so that they don't lose shrub and positional priority against a lineup centered around a Cho. It's a very, very small detail, but it's fantastic itemization by Aurora.
On top of Yue getting his hands on his very own purple buff 11 minutes into the game, so he can sustain the fight a little bit longer. And it's not like TNC are actually able to stay that long too. The damage that's coming from Dominkite at this point, again, one wrong way of the dragon from Yawi, one miscalculated play, they could just get immediately deleted by Dominkite.
And Dominkite already has the Malefic Gun as well, so it's going to be even slightly harder to get that carry. 540 stacks on codes and 12 minutes in. He just built up a BOD. So again, we already mentioned it earlier, TNC has been online for quite some time. So despite this being a 5k gold lead for Aurora, this is actually within the realm of a comeback possibility for TNC Pro Team. When you're at around this point of the game and the course of your lineup is well farmed, a 5k gold lead for the other side isn't much.
Okay. Because we are looking at the second lore now, and hopefully they both get to take into consideration all of these factors from both sides. Lord JM has some sort of vision, but they're just really waiting for TNC to show up. And Renegade, he's about to get all the necessary information.
You have found where Yawi is, and now that's a recalibration for TNC Pro Team. They decide to show Lord JM. They go for a conceal. They're going to go for the wraparound.
Okay. They're going to go for the black. Gonna try and go for Dominkite. The kick is there, but it's not going to be a follow-up. As Dominkite will go to burst him down. Here comes Edward, wrecking havoc on the side of TNC. Forcing the flickers from Lord JM, but here comes Dominkite with a Queller. Lord JM going to be able to sustain it, but the Lord, not so much, because Aurora will secure it.
Just a moment too late. For the release of the Deathly Grasp and combo by Lancy. By the time he was finally able to bring it out, Dominkite already threw the dagger out to iframe and escape. A good attempt by TNC Pro Team, but better responded to by Aurora.
Yeah, a very devastating sequence, especially for Yawi. Unfortunately for TNC, they're able to retreat. I think the Dark Wave that was well-timed had a lot to do with them escaping Aurora chasing after them. But now they have to think of their defense. There are 3 waves that are in sync, marching towards their base.
Okay, Zaida attempted to go for the purple buff as Lord sieging in onto the middle lane.
So gets his own buff. Aurora still sieging. Relentless as they are, they're waiting for the minion waves. Team Shield for Edward and TNC are still holding. Aurora taking the very disciplined route.
I don't think Dominkite ever had to use his Purify just yet. In this entire game. No one's able to reach him.
Yeah. There's 5 things untouchable on the side of Aurora. Dominkite, Dominkite, Yue, Edward, and Dominkite's Purify.
No one gets to be taken down at all. But now, at least for TNC, they still have 2 base turrets that are currently intact. And this is discipline coming from Aurora as well.
Yeah.
They will not force anything just yet. They might just be playing this by the book and waiting for the next objective.
Because again, it's all going to boil down to what Renmar has been saying. The 5k gold lead, not so much, as long as TNC, their cores, have sufficient enough items, can hold on long enough. Lord JM and maybe Yaoi can soak up the damage, be the sandbag for a counterplay coming in from TNC. So one mistake can turn things around for Aurora, but can it also turn things around for TNC?
Yeah, and another thing that we're seeing is as long as Yaoi doesn't get the right angle or they get the right pick off, Lord JM doesn't go aggressive, and they have to keep holding on to that mentality. Lord JM don't fully go and commit up until they immediately get the -1. Once that happens, that's when he can be aggressive as a Phoveus. Again, this is a flicker Phoveus, not a vengeance Phoveus.
Yeah.
It's a flicker meant for the counter set and being able to maximize the dark wave and the crowd control he gets from that.
Yeah,
Still, very pick-off dependent RTNC.
Yeah, this is a different kind of lineup and playstyle we're supposed to see from them. It's not Yaoi and Lord JM getting to engage together at the same time, or Lord JM having his very own openings, or having the capability to just look for members from Aurora and set things up compared to earlier when he was on the Badang. So they have to be a little more patient in terms of the decisions that they will be doing this time. And the third Lord has finally spawned. This is the enhanced Lord, if I'm not mistaken, still.
Yeah.
So TNC really has to be careful. They lost 1 base turret too already.
Oh, they're going to burst it down. Aurora might just go for the Lord instead, forcing TNC and keeping them at bay. Look at the damage coming in from Yue.
Conceal. Edward's positioning so good. Yaoi goes
in the way of the dragon, but Demon Kite survives as he also secures the Lord. Kozen forced to back away. Hunting season for Aurora. Edward was able to escape. No casualties for Aurora and TNC. They will lose too.
Yaoi was able to find him, but Demon Kite was free once again.
Zyda and Yaoi did their absolute best in that scenario. Zyda was even able to get a retribution off. Demon Kite did not retry that Lord. It was his second skill that helped secured it. And now Aurora, very disciplined yet again, countering the engagement of TNC Pro Team, might now be on the way to winning in this game number 3. Yaoi is back, Zyda back in 5. Who wins, who dies?
Lord sieging in onto the middle lane. Renegade goes in with a glorious pathway, but Latsi counters out with a deathly grasp. They're able to out-sustain the damage coming in from Aurora, but the Lord still on there. Yue flickers in even for the Sanguine Glove. They're going for the base, and it's all over!